be my realistic Pokemon team. Well, I think my first Pokemon would actually have been a Glameow, because I don't think I would be going to be a trainer in this universe, and really I think the only time you get a starter Pokemon is when you're kind of like working for the professor, doing the Pokedex and things. So I don't think I would actually have one of the like usual starter Pokemon. I'd probably have a Glameow, because when I was a child, I asked my mom to get me a cat, and I eventually got one, and that was kind of like my first personal like pet. And she was a gray tabby that had like a lot of white on her. And when I first saw Glameow, it reminded me of my childhood cat. So I'd have a Glameow. And then I think I would have loved cat Pokemon so much, I would have gone out and caught myself a little Skitty. So I'd have 2 cats. And the now Perugly probably wouldn't really like the Skitty, because it's just like a little kitten. And it'd be annoying. And I wasn't originally going to do a full team of 6, but then there's a lot of Pokemon I feel like I would realistically have. And as someone who likes having lots of pets, I'd probably be going out and catching Pokemon or befriending them. I would probably have a Murkrow, because we have a lot of crows in our area, and I enjoy talking to them. Like when I go to work in the mornings, there'll usually be like a couple crows hopping around, and I always say good morning to the crows. So I feel like eventually I would just, you know, come into contact with a Murkrow. I didn't want to bog this list down with a lot of super popular Pokemon, or even ones that I consider are like my ultimate favorites. Like, I love Houndour. It's one of my favorites, but I don't think I could have a Houndour, especially. But I do think I would have a Rockruff, because I was that weird wolf kid in high school. I was obsessed with wolves, and I feel like, you know, in the Pokemon, like, universe, realistically, I would be, like, very determined to get my hands on a Rockruff so I could have a Lycanroc eventually. As I was saying about not wanting to put too many of my favorites, I just had to put Eevee, because it's been my ultimate favorite for so long, and if they were real, I would stop at nothing to get one of these. I like to imagine, though, that maybe I struggled to find an Eevee and couldn't, and so one was gifted to me by a dear friend, just like this little figure. A lot of the Eevees in my collection have just been gifted to me by my friends. So I like to imagine that that trend would continue, and I'd get an actual Eevee from my friends. And I feel like I would struggle, because I'm indecisive with what to evolve it into, so it'd probably stay an Eevee for a long time. And also, I'm a little petty, because I imagine if you have an Eevee, people are probably gonna like push you to evolve it into something, or they're gonna like constantly bug you, like, oh, what are you gonna evolve your Eevee into? You have to evolve it into something. So I feel like, out of spite, I wouldn't for the longest time. But in my late 20s, I did really get into a lot of spirituality and witchcraft stuff. So I feel like once I finally found myself as a person, I would have the Eevee evolve into an Espeon, even though that's not even my favorite evolution. It's Jolteon and Sylveon, by the way. But I feel like an Espeon could really help me with memorizing tarot cards and just a lot of psychic things that would be really cool to have, like an actual psychic cat dog thing. So I would have that. And also, the final Pokemon on my team is kind of a toss-up between a Spiritomb or an Impidimp, because like I said, and if anyone who follows me here knows, I'm a demonologist, so I work with a lot of spirits and demons specifically. So Impidim's kind of like the closest thing we have to that. But I do think Spirit Tomb kind of fits this a lot more because it's just 108 spirits just kind of contained into this one form. And I don't know, I just think that would be really cool. It kind of signifies my interest in the occult. And I don't know what that would look like in the Pokemon universe. I guess I would be like Hail Garantina, who is also my favorite legendary. But yeah, so those are the Pokemon I think I would realistically have if Pokemon were just real. Or if I lived in the Pokemon universe. And there's so many Pokemon, it's hard to choose. These are some ones that I really like and I think I would realistically come across doing what I do. Yeah, that's that.